Hey YouTubers, what's up? I must have seen the number 1111 45 to 50 times in the last 2 months, and that's no exaggeration. But let me get back to that, okay? One thing I learned with these videos is keep it short and keep it to the point. That's what I intend to do. Now I heard some really good videos to, propagate a December rapture. On this one, I was kind of standoffish, although they were great videos. I got to tell you, they were great videos. I saw one that gave a very good, compelling reason why we could go at the end of January in the rapture, but I'm still not convinced. I'm really less than convinced, although I'm considering it, but I'm inclined to believe that the rapture could very well happen in the early spring. And I'm going to give you reasons why I believe what I believe. I think it's interesting that there was a lady that gave a YouTube video, and she said she received a 4-month verbal warning from God that a tsunami was coming on November 14th. And I thought that was interesting. That sounds pretty scary. But well, okay. And there's another reason too. There was a couple people that made videos that are trying to explain that the beginning of a Shemitah is right around the 17th of March in the spring. Now, we went through this in September, okay? But I think this year could be different. Because remember, there was no financial tumbling, and every other Shemitah in the past, 7 or 8 Shemitahs there was. I think we're looking at the exception to the rule because we're at the end. And they gave reasons that, Joshua's long day, not 24 hours, but 48 hours, will happen right around the 17th of March. Now, these are things that I don't understand, okay? It's above my head, but I'm just kind of telling you what they said. And there's more than one video out there on this that they're trying to explain that the beginning of a Shemitah this time, on this occasion, could be right around the beginning of the spring. I also find it interesting that a lot of people are having 3 days of darkness visions. And they're saying that it's probably going to happen before the rapture. And now I didn't know one way or the other. But I can tell you that there's some pretty good testimony that it's going to be before the rapture. But one video it just struck me. The lady kind of broke character, and she said, I really don't want to, pick a time frame, but if I had to, she said, right around the spring. I felt like the 3 days of darkness was around the springtime. So I said, okay, well, she broke character, and I think that's interesting. Yeah, I actually look for signs like that. A friend of mine had a vision. This was not a dream. He had a vision, and he felt himself going up in the rapture. And he was telling me about this, and I said, okay, when you went up, what did the skies look like? And this was a while ago, by the way. And he said they looked to be spring skies. I said, okay. That's your testimony, that they look to be spring skies. I know that, I don't know much about Sandy Armstrong. Every time I listen to him, he loses me. He's intelligent, I'm not. Okay, all right. Let's establish that right now, okay? But he did say that I think he said the end of 2022 could be the middle of March. I think that's what he said. I don't want to misquote anybody, but I don't know how he got that. But once again, we see these testimonies coming in regarding the early spring. And there was a person that had a word of knowledge, and he was going through some of the problems that could take place in the winter, and then he finally said, kings go to war in the spring. So I said, wow, okay, all right. You know, it was told to me a very long time ago that out of the 4 seasons of the year, spring physically is the only season that represents the rapture of the church. Because you see there's resurrection of life. Flowers start to bloom, bushes start to grow in. There's no other season that really represents that. So I think physically it's interesting that is a fact. So anyway, back to the 1111. Not going to be too long, but I wrote a short segment to a friend to kind of be humorous about the 1111s that I'm seeing. Okay? And so I wrote, I had to buy crockpot liners, and the price was reduced to $11.11. 5 minutes later, I went on a YouTube channel with 11.1 thousand subscribers. This was after Sunday morning when I finally looked at the clock for the first time, and it read 11:11 a.m. My parents, who didn't know anything about 111 or 1111, got up money. They gathered money for a needy person, and they gave it to me, and they said, we collected $111. I said, wow, okay, that's interesting. All right. And then a few days ago, I looked at the clock at nighttime for the first time, and it read 11:11 p.m. Then in the morning, I looked at the clock for the first time, and it read 11:11 a.m. Now, after a day of running around, I decided to watch a lighthearted video. It was one of those dog videos, and they all went to the park with the dog, and the park clock read 11:11 a.m. I said, wow, Well, anyway, I watched another one of their videos, and the next day they took the dog for a walk in the city, and the city clock read 11:11 a.m. Now, this is on top. Well, this is beside the other, 37 times or 40 times that I saw 1111 in the past 2 months. So this is not an accident, okay? I don't even know if you can truly be an atheist and listen to a testimony like this, because God is outside of time. And he can do this easy. It's very hard for us to scratch our head and say, well, how could God do this? Well, I don't really know. But, all right, friend, well, listen, it was just some points that I wanted to bring out and put to the surface. I would be ready for the rapture at any moment. And I'm still thinking about some of the videos, but I think the most compelling are kind of leading me to the early spring, but it's still too early and premature to tell. So you make up your own mind on this, and I hope I was able to help. Okay, so signing off, friend, and keep looking up.